So last week, in the searing 34-degree heat, we stupidly decided to do a walk and wild camp. To try and make it a little bit more interesting, we decided to park the car up at Ongar and start this mini adventure with a trip on the Epping-ongar Heritage Railway. The route we take on this video is thus. We get the train to where the rail terminates at North Weald and walk from North Weald to Hatfield Forest via High Laver, Matching Green and Hatfield Heath. After sleeping the night at Hatfield Forest, we then walk to Stansted Airport and get the coach back to Chelmsford, where we can collect our cars. The trains that run here are usually steam, but since it's so hot, and has been so hot for so many weeks, they decided not to run the steam trains and run old diesels instead, as to avoid fires along the track. I think one of these carriages was used in a porn film.
I've heard the same thing.
Yeah. Are you struggling with the door? Now the first thing we had to do before heading off was have some breakfast, and we were very excited about the prospect of a bacon and sausage baguette from the cafe, but I have to be honest, it was actually half a sausage and bacon, and this made us very grumpy. You may or may not be interested to learn that the track between Epping and Ongar was once part of the London Underground's Central Line. It was shut relatively recently in 1994, or maybe I'm just getting old, and was sold off as a heritage railway soon after. It seems mad that with all the development going on in the region that they haven't sought to buy it back for normal passenger routes, but to be totally honest, I hope that they don't. It's become a great place for parents to take their children, and they quite often do kids events here, so I hope they don't buy it back. It'll be a travesty. You really? So Chris, is it too early for a pub?
Well, we're only like 30 foot in, aren't we? So
30 foot in?
yeah.
That's what she said.
No, that's 30 millimetres.
Walking along the main road here, I was aware that if you come off and head over to the Weald Common, there is a relatively unknown historical site hidden beneath the undergrowth and old fencing. If it hadn't been so hot, we would have gone here during our walk, but as it was 34 degrees, I ended up driving back here the following week just to show you what it is. So if you follow this track, it takes you to the North Weald Redoubt, an old fortification that was completed in 1904. Now the reason for its construction was that the British government was fearful that its navy may not be able to defend against an invasion from either France or Russia, and so constructed a number of fortifications aimed at defending London. This one at North Weald was built here to prevent enemy soldiers from approaching from the north, from either an invasion on the Wash or along the Suffolk coast. This was probably the best time to come here, because in the past when I've come up here, it was just filled with water, and it fills up like a big pond. So with it being so dry recently, it was best conditions. but you can see all the rooms where they would have stored the shells and the ammunition. Sadly though, as usual in this country, hasn't been looked after and has just been used as a dumping ground over the years. So fortunately this fort was never used to stave off an invasion, but the airfield at North Weald was, and was home to at least 2 Hurricane squadrons during World War II, along with night fighters comprised of Bristol Blenheims. Having walked for a grand total of about, 25 minutes, we decided to stop at the Harvester for a well-deserved pint before we continued on for the rest of this journey. More fire engines. Get a nice foot.
We're just going to sit here for a minute, have a quick little rest in the shade. See, I don't really need to sit down or anything, I'm alright, but I don't have children, so...
Yeah, it's aged me by about 25 years.
He's only 13 really. So there's a moral to the story, don't have children and you're not constantly tired. And drink a lot of Monster. Right, so we're going to crack on in a minute. It is very hot today. This might become like real survival, like Bear Grylls sort of stuff. Probably not, because that's fake anyway.
The next stop in our journey was the small village of High Laver. There's really nothing of note to talk about here, with the exception of one notable worthy buried within this graveyard. That person was John Locke, who was one of the principal figures behind the idea of liberalism, the original definition of course, not the modern woke one, and was the inspiration for the American Constitution and many of the ideas upon which the West was, until quite recently at least, founded upon. Now I must admit, we were too hot to go looking for the grave, as I assumed it would be weathered and would need the church index book to find, but searching online afterwards it would have been quite impossible to miss.
This is pretty cool, stone wall.
Nah, it's just really big pebble dash. We left High Laver, fully aware that our next brush with civilization wouldn't be until we hit Hatfield Heath. I know it's been said already multiple times, but the video really doesn't convey the heat that we were enduring on this walk. As a consequence, our progress was quite slow, as we were being sensible and stopping regularly for water breaks. because of hair, I think.
So we're just at Matching Green, having a little breather. But it is just too hot to just keep going, really.
Oh, thanks, mate. Oh, you fit through, just. After a long stretch of footpaths between High Lather and Matching Green, we were back to walking on roads. Fortunately, we didn't have too long to go before we reached Hatfield Heath. When we did reach Hatfield Heath though, the evening was getting on. Despite that fact, since we hadn't eaten anything since the morning, we stopped at the White Horse pub there. I have to say, it's not bad food at all, and with pretty hefty portions, so I definitely recommend. As we finished our meal though, we realised it was going to get dark very quickly, but it had at least cooled down. We carried on towards Hatfield Forest, once again back on the footpaths.
Alright, so we're really starting to get to that point where the light's going to disappear quickly. I'm actually testing out a GoPro and a gimbal, so we're going to carry on walking in the dark, but whether you see the footage or not, I don't know. Could be anyone's guess.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. It's like orange in that. You can't see it on the GoPro. It's just a fucking orange haze. I'll try with the Panasonic instead. It's a better camera than that shit.
You're so funny, isn't you? is picking stuff up, but you know what's really annoying? The gimbal's holding the camera level, but the post's not. Right, we're really running low on light. We've found a spot in Hatfield Forest. We're gonna call home for tonight. It's been a very long, tiring walk. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm actually holding the camera on Jay, so right, let's set tents up.
So we put the tents up and sat chilling for a few hours. It's a shame that we couldn't carry on filming, but you wouldn't have seen anything anyway. We were sky gazing for a bit before going to bed. We thought we'd seen some UFOs actually for a little while, but it turned out that Starlink had launched a set of satellites the day before, so that kind of killed any excitement that we had in the evening.
Chris, why do you look fucking orange on the video?
Because I'm from Essex.
We was invaded early in the morning though by these highly inquisitive cows, who seemed to be a little annoyed that we'd camped in their favourite spot.
Right, we're all packed away, ready to carry on. We're just having a sponsor drink from our sponsor Monster, and I've got some fascinating facts that I've been thinking about Monster. I drink loads of it and I've not had COVID. Therefore, scientifically, Monster actually stops COVID-19. Right, we're just leaving the spot we had for the night. Left it clean and tidy, ready for next time.
We had a quick breakfast at the National Trust run cafe before pushing on with our final leg of the journey, where we'd get the bus back to Chelmsford from Stansted Airport.
I don't know if you can see it, but in the distance there's Stansted Airport. That's where we're going. We're just going to Tately first. How do you feel, Jay?
Knackered.
Well, I've got a confession.
What's that?
I took your medicines out of your bag and left them at halfway.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, let's go get them. And that was that. A very tiring, very warm weekend of walking around Essex. I'm glad we did it though, but next time we certainly wouldn't mind a long distance walk in the rain. If you're still watching at this point, then thank you for sticking with us. If you've hated the video, don't forget to dislike and unsubscribe, and maybe you'll see us in the next video. Goodbye for now.